Excuse me. One day I'm gonna not have spur of the moment postings, but for now I have to post when I think about, and I always laugh because I always look just a bit ragged. Um, just came across information. It's 6:18 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and I had a day of debriefing, and I'm not yesterday, again, another day. And I'm not talking about, taking my clothes off. Um, um, it's when the information that I know, information that I have, I can't hold on to. And so it purges from me at different times. And I really don't have control over when or where. It has to do with the dynamics of whatever room I'm in. Um, um, the information that I just came across this morning was in regard to the Unabomber, and the Unabomber story has emerged in my life. Right now, I'm too tired to think through, because it was one of those nights I went to bed early, but I feel like I was dragged to the party and didn't. My body stayed in slumber mode while my mind was taken to the party. Um, um, so I feel groggy this morning. The Unabomber story started emerging in my life as in a personal connection, and again, I can't think, I can't remember right now as to why, because I can't even think of when that story was a part of U.S. history, like how old I was. I think actually everything kind of starts at 1657 Woodburn Avenue. And I think that's when the stories of the Unabomber uh, was in the media. When the actual story was taking place, I don't know, because I no longer believe the the time postings of, or when the time of when an event is actually taking place, and when the event is, I want to say, advertised, because that's when it becomes commercial. um um it almost feels natural to say that the media is advertising an event, no matter what it is. So what I'm saying is that when that the story of the Unabomber was being advertised via the media in the 70s, early to mid 70s, I was a little girl, but more recently it started emerging in my life, and I can't remember why, except for a lot of things seem to be stemming from when I resided with my Henderson family at 1657 Woodburn Avenue. addresses are colliding in my mind right now. Um, um, and so one of the little things that came up on my uh, media announcement thing, for lack of up-to-date technological lingo, as that said, the Unabomber was thought to be an incel. And so I was like, an incel, what is that? So I looked up incel, and I found that an incel was a movement whereby like it could be assumed a vow of celibacy was required. And I'm going around town saying, I'm abstinent. Look, dude, I'm not looking, right? So, and that might be why this connection, other than the time period of when the Unabomber actually took place, and when it was actually reached the media. So, actually, if that is the case, and it said that violence was well, of course, bombing things is an act of violence. If it's destructive in a manner that isn't helping anybody. So actually, and I'm not confessing a knowing membership, but if the anger and frustration of our celibacy, us as individuals, because I'm not claiming membership to the Incel movement, because I don't believe in going around just destroying things for the sake of destroying things. But if our sexual frustration can be redirected. And it's interesting because yesterday I said to somebody, dude, I'm just trying to redirect some stuff. And then I wake up this morning and that's on there. So and I can't remember what the conversation was about. And I'm smiling because Jesus is working in my life. To redirect the incel movement, if in fact it's still a movement, to a more positive endeavor than just to start the demolition of dilapidated buildings and taking frustration and anger out or whatever in demolition of dilapidated buildings and seedy, sleazy motels and not just motels, but any rundown buildings, or whereby the new building endeavors, there's very many here in Boulder, can be more easily maintained as new if we start a demolition company and start demolishing the buildings that are structurally unsound, and then sending out teams, not then, but simultaneously and before and during, teams of land surveyors who are going to survey the lands to make certain that the new building that's being done and the ground around it, what with, sinkholes and whatnot happening all over the world that are just, you know, I, to be able to fill the sinkholes before they have a chance to I can't randomly appear, um, um, is a positive way for the Incel movement to redirect and channel its energies. So I'm smiling because if I've reached some and they're saying, "Oh, that's a good idea. Well, maybe we could do that." Um, um, then that's a positive thing. As far as the Unabomber himself and the level of forgiveness, his salvation, if he's a Christian, because one would assume, my assumption is, I can be assumed to be a Christian within my declaration of abstinence and celibacy. I cannot be assumed a member of the Incel movement, however, because I don't. And I need to say, because I, within the my personal need to start demolition companies, I don't require, if I get a demolition company started, or if I get a greenhouse building company started, because that's what I see needs to be done. First the demolition, and then in many of those sites, a greenhouse to be built where the motivation and the drive is to provide healthy food for everyone, fruits, vegetables, flowers, and I'm not Monsanto's either, because Monsanto's evidently, and I don't like to go into this because I'm not trying to cause myself more battles. The battle has to be mentioned, because if it comes into my mind, that means Monsanto's is like trying to get at my throat or my idea, or not necessarily my idea, but others might. And if there can be, I forgot the up-to-date word, I always say merge, but there's a mashup, where there's no, because my understanding is that Monsanto's creates, one of their endeavors is genetically altered plants and vegetables, and I don't want that. I want, because plastics honestly comes into play, and not into play, but I noticed a difference in the fruits and vegetables at the grocery store. And I have to say out loud, because if there's whoever might have information who can lead me to the vegetables that aren't plasticized, because I noticed in my fruits and vegetables, and I mentioned it to somebody, that several people, that my fruits and vegetables, while it seems like such a great thing, gosh, it's like I've had my apples sitting on my counter, for 2 weeks now, and they haven't begun to decompose. I don't like to use that word either, because there's a lot of yuck in the world right now. And but the apples on my counter, like, I'm not talking in code, I'm talking my actual apples, because apples are something, and lemons and such, oranges are something that we traditionally, as I wouldn't say human beings, but I really can't speak for others. Traditionally we keep them as functional. Again, here's an attachment that I don't like because of stuff that's going on in the world, or a double interpretation, and I don't want to be misinterpreted. That our fruits and vegetables we keep on the counter just because it looks attractive and it brings a sense of healthy living and nature, into our eyesight, into our subliminal. It's very frustrating because the battle is constant, even in trying to get my words out in within the interpretation in which I intend to be interpreted correctly, without without the orange jumpsuit. And so the energy of abstinence or celibacy can be positively directed. I don't feel like I feel as though men have a different physiological and psychological reaction to celibacy than women, because I don't feel like a violent person. I'm more angry, more violent when I'm sexually active and discover that my male partner is cheating on me, as Michael Johnson can attest to. And not by way of, like, I never took my aggression out on him. I never I never hit him or anything like that. I never clonked him over the head with a frying pan. I never did any of that. But what I did do was hop in my truck and put it in. I don't want to start a directive here. I don't want to start at something for a vehicle for somebody to use, and if it can be used positively. But anyway, so I don't want to resell the story right now. But no, I never hurt anyone. And the night that that I came close to hurting somebody was the night at the Dundalk Marine. And I'm not intending this to be a public confession, because I honestly don't have anything to, because I was in a room with my older sister after a night of, I forget where we went, to a party or a bar or something. And I, again, probably had 2 beers, because that's really the most I ever drank when I went out. Sometimes 3. When I was younger, I'm trying to think. I think at the most 3 beers was the most I ever had when I went out. If I drank more than that, it was very, very infrequently. And I didn't um, feeling out of control of my own thought processes. And I didn't like feeling the way that I felt the next morning. I'm a morning person. Dawn is my name. and um, and I like to be able to get up and think clearly and start my day in whatever way that I need to without feeling the agony of a hangover. Um, so the night that I went with my older sister Sandy to the Dundalk Marina, which was a very much smaller marina, and the guy, one of my older sister Sandy's friends, I'm trying to think how many guys, and I trusted it because these were her close friends that my older sister Sandy worked with and knew for a number of years. And the one guy proceeded to, I stood up to go into the bathroom or something. And as I stood up in the middle of the room to proceed to the bathroom, one of the guys got up, stopped me, and yanked the pants down that I had. And I got really angry. And I think it was me, my older sister Sandy, and four guys, I think, 4 or 5 guys. I can't remember. 3, 4, or 5 guys. And I got really angry immediately. And it was only my underwear that was revealed, but I got very, very angry, and I really don't care who considers me to be a prude right now. And I looked at my older sister Sandy. I said, "Let's go." And my older sister Sandy wasn't really one to ever listen to me because I was never I wasn't, again, I was not ever, I've never been a violent person. And I looked at her and I said, "Let's go." And she might have only gotten up because I was driving. I don't know, but they had cars and they were her friends. So um, she got up and followed me out to my car, which was a 1964 and a half Mustang. And the guys followed us out, and I got in my car in the driver's seat. Sandy got in the passenger seat, and I started my car, and he started coming at the door to open the door, and I freaking slammed it in drive, and he still started coming at my car door, or he got in front of me, or he got in front of my car. And I came very close to hitting him, and I stopped and put it in reverse, as though Jesus had taken the wheel and the gear shift, which was a manual, as a warning. Dude, no, they're sorry. and I wasn't standing outside my car to see, but I know I came very close to hitting him, and I am laughing because I know Jesus took the wheel and the gear shift of my car, and I know it was Jesus' anger coming through me, and praise Jesus, because he was there. And so that guy was very lucky that night that I was an angel, that I am an angel of Jesus, because Satan likes bloodshed more than I and or my Lord and Savior. I'm certain. So anyway, back to the incel movement, and to be able to convince the possibly non-Christian members. I don't know, because I don't know the complete history other than the little blurb of information that popped up on my screen this morning when I first started my computer. And so if that movement could be used and their energies be directed to some a positive, to start a demolition company where the new buildings that are going up all over the place, that and can be better preserved, because the more decay and yuck that's around the new buildings, the faster things decay. Decay creates decay, and living and breathing oxygen creates health and better visuals and life and living and better human spirits, and so demolition can begin of the dilapidated buildings, if that movement can be reached to positively direct their energies. I'm simply laughing right now, although there's a conflicting story which is concerning me regarding my biological children. Conflicting not in what I want, what I'm hoping to accomplish, and praying for Jesus's blessing to be able to accomplish, not within bloodshed or any other kind of but within positive direction of energies, and asking for my children's forgiveness for possibly not recognizing or them, my own children, in my path until after the fact, and Satan always takes hold of my confusion, because that's what Satan's about, taking hold of our confusions and trying to direct our confusion to the benefits of. I don't need to say more in that, but so I just wanted to speak on the story of the Unabomber, and I'm not laughing about his activity, and I can attest to his I can't attest to the story. I was a child and I knew nothing about it. A child, as in chronologically. I don't have aliases. I believe I existed in other eras of history, but I believe that I actually passed away and was reborn, because people with aliases either purposefully assume that when I say that I've lived in other eras, they either mistakenly or purposefully interpret what I say there as though, oh, she's talking about she's got aliases and she has. No. April 10th, 1964, I was born to my biological parents And I've never taken an alias other than that one time. I told the RTD guy that my name was Karen, and I told him that I forgot my driver's license. And so I told him my name was Karen. He took my picture. So within the RTD ticketing system somewhere, I have there's a photo of me with the name Karen. And Satan always tries to nail me for that too, as though, oh, she's covering for her. No, I'm not covering for anybody with an alias. I'm not covering for all the, I cover for my children. I carry the cross of myself and my children. That's all. Not for anyone else, because Jesus has shown me personally that that's all I'm supposed to. And my children are not to carry the cross, my cross. My children are not to carry my cross unless my cross is lighter than theirs at any given point in time in my daily life. And that's for many reasons. And praise Jesus. And and any members of any abstinent professing members of the human race who would like to redirect some of their frustrations to not really, I wouldn't call it a movement, except for we're going to move some buildings by way of legal demolition, and build greenhouses. And I think that that's all I need to say right now, because I'm making smiley faces on my notebook, so that's a good thing. It's almost like a face of a nun, because I used to say when I was young and I worked at this one place, well, I'm not gonna tell that story. But there are people in my existence right now who I'm remembering and questioning their devotion, whether to good or anyway. I'm going to end my conversation. And that's my son. All right. Thank you. And